What's up, Craig? How you doing? Welcome to Trust Me, Bro.
What's up, Mark? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man.
Nice.
So,
Good.
yeah, good to have you back.
Yeah, man. Glad to be back.
All right. So we are through 5 weeks of NFL football so far. So wanted to recap. So how'd you do this weekend for your matchups?
4-0. This is
Four
this is one
no,
of the
man.
first. Yeah, this is one of the first weeks that I haven't been stressing out at least over one of them.
Yeah, man.
I
That's
think three have been locked
congratulations,
up.
man.
Thanks, brother.
That's awesome. Great
Yeah.
job, man. 4-0. You can't beat that.
How'd you do?
So, I did pretty good. I was 3-1. Ended up losing one of them. So I was playing Kittle, right, in one of my leagues, and he's been, pretty disappointing so far. I think week 4 he got me, a little over a point. So pretty frustrated with him. So I went ahead and picked up Zach Ertz. And so I decided to go ahead and play Zach Ertz in that league, in my neighborhood league. And then sure
Ugh.
enough, Kittle goes off against the Cowboys, 3 touchdowns, 20, I don't know, I think 29 points or something like that. So yeah, it was a bitter pill to swallow by giving up on my boy Kittle. But
Damn.
I went back and did the math, and it looks like, even with Kittle's 20 points, I still would have come up a little bit short. I also
Makes you
had
feel a little better.
yeah, exactly. So at least I didn't feel terrible about that. I think it was Smith from the Eagles. He also came up with like 1.1 points or something like that. So,
Yeah,
had
what
I
was that
played,
about?
I don't know, man. Yeah, he just hasn't been turning it on lately. But I mean, had I played Kirk instead of Smith, I mean, I probably could have won that matchup. But I mean, really, I mean, do you play Kirk instead of Smith on a normal basis? I mean,
No,
so
no.
hey, what are you gonna do? But yeah, my work league ended up winning that one. I had the choice to play Fields, last Thursday, or to play it safe and go with Love, right? And so I went ahead and gambled and played Fields, and sure enough, that was the right decision. So
Yep.
had I played Love, I mean, yeah, he stunk it up tonight, man. Love, I think he
He
had
did.
at least two, maybe three interceptions and no touchdowns. Yeah, just looked terrible. So
Yep.
that was
Yep.
that was that was a good move. Went ahead and went with my guy, Fields. So
Yeah. Yeah. He helped me.
yep, yeah, he looks good, man. So he's got a good schedule too coming up. So I'm just gonna roll with him. I like him a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I luckily had DJ Moore going in that same league too.
Ooh,
Having
nice.
to sit on my bench in another one, but evidently didn't hurt me that bad.
Yeah, he still won anyway, so it's all good. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just a bench star. Yeah, I had more going too in my neighborhood league, and so
Nice.
yeah, that was a good one. I didn't win that one because that was the one that I had Kittle on my bench, but oh well. Even with Moore's contribution, I still didn't end up winning it. Had a couple guys, not perform. So Pollard like one of them. So
yeah.
what can you
He
do?
was flat.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep. So all right. Well, with all that said, let's take a look at the waiver wire, Craig. And I know it's slim pickings out there, but hopefully you got a few names here written down. So if you got any QBs, what you see out there in the market?
Yeah, I'm gonna recycle one. Sam Howell.
Okay.
Let me look back on my notes here real quick. Let's see if anybody's listening to our advice. A few people.
Yeah.
A few people are. He's 17% owned. When I recommended him a couple weeks ago, he was 9% owned. So some
There you
people out
go.
there are listening, brother.
That's right. Yeah, 8% of
Yeah.
the population out there decided to go with Sam Howell. I like it.
Hell yeah,
All
it's
right.
making a difference, brother. But yeah, 388, two tutties. He's got Atlanta and the Giants coming up, and I think a few other teams coming up. I think he can probably rack up some points on. I think the Cowboys are coming up there too. So
Yeah.
you never know what defense you're going to see against the Cowboys, but at least Atlanta and the Giants, I feel like he can rack up a couple more, good games coming up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sam Howell, I watched the game last Thursday night. That was the one against the Bears, and a lot of that damage he did was in garbage time. I think the first half, they were sucking wind. So I think Sam Howell turned it on at halftime and ended up putting up some pretty good stats there in the second
Yep,
half. So yeah, not a bad pick.
yep.
All
What
right,
you
so
got?
on the QB side, I was the same guy I talked. I'm recycling one too. Is the only guy I wrote down. I think 2 weeks ago I mentioned his name before you left on your vacation. But Baker Mayfield, he's The last game he played, I know he was on a bye this past week, but when he did play in week 4, he had 247 passing yards and 3 touchdowns and 31 rushing yards. And so he might be somebody for, people that are quarterback needy to take a look at. I know Anthony Richardson just went down. I've got him in one of our leagues, Craig,
Hmm.
and so I think he's going to be out for a little while. So maybe they'll even put him on IR for 4 weeks. So if you're missing out on a quarterback, or if you lost your quarterback, this might be someone to take a look at. Either Sam Howell or Baker Mayfield. So
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good call. One I was a little surprised in the ESPN league is Matt Stafford's only 34% owned.
is that right? Huh?
Yeah, with Cooper Cup coming back this week, he was 222 for 2 tutties, but he's got Arizona, Pittsburgh, and Dallas coming up. So I think
Yeah.
he can do some damage here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, with cutback and Puka Nuka, still balling. I think
Yep.
he's definitely got the weapons. And so he's definitely a good one to get folks by. I didn't realize he was only 34% on. That's great. Yeah, I looked for him
Yeah.
in some of these leagues that I need a quarterback, and he's not to be found. But
Yep.
yeah, that's a good one. Any other QBs? I'm out. I just had Baker.
I got those two on the running backs.
Okay, on the running back. All right, who's your first one?
I've got a Jaleel McLaughlin.
Okay.
He is a solid. Is this 48% owned that I wrote down here?
Could be. Yeah, he was pretty popular last week after Williams went down.
Yeah.
Who didn't play last, and he did pretty good in week 4. So he had 2 good games in a row, week 4 and 5. So yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah. He's looking pretty good. 9 for 68, caught another 3 passes for 21 yards and a tutty. I think they play Thursday night too, so that's kind of a quick turnaround.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Williams is probably going to be back, for that one with the quick turnaround. So yeah, you
Yeah.
might be able to get him for at least one more game.
Yeah.
And who knows? He may be stealing this job. I mean, Williams hasn't looked that good at all. This
Yeah.
Javonte Williams, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, he's a
Yeah.
promising rookie. I like him.
Yeah.
All right, and so on the RB side, I wrote down an old name that we've known for a while, Donta Foreman for the Bears, only 7% owned. And the reason he actually was, or not ineligible, but he was on the bench or inactive, I guess I'm trying to say, last week
Healthy
in week
scratch.
5. Healthy scratch, yeah.
Yep.
Because Khalil Herbert got hurt on Thursday night. It looks like he's going to be out for a little while. It looks like, maybe
Yeah.
maybe they'll put him on IR too. He might be out for 4 weeks. Roast Con Johnson had a concussion, and Travis Homer got hurt. Not sure what Homer's injury is, but he's Dante Foreman, last man standing on the Bears, 7% owned.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Roshan Johnson's one to look at too. I've had him on my list a few weeks ago, or I think the first
Yep.
week, and rookie, he might have some good wheels on him if he can get off the concussion protocol.
Yeah, that's the thing is about this concussion protocol. It's usually going to nab you for at least a week. That's what I've
Mhm.
noticed so far this season. There's been a few guys
Yeah,
that have been able to escape it, but I'd say 85% chance that if you got a concussion, you're out at least a week. So
yeah. Being that they played Thursday night, though, maybe give him enough time.
true. Yeah, you give him a couple extra days. To
Yeah,
pass that 5-step program. So you never know.
right.
But yeah, even if Herbie's down for 4 weeks, then Johnson could be valuable for at least 3, maybe 4 of those
Yeah.
weeks. So yeah, good one. All right. I see. So that was your guy, right? Or no?
Yeah. I had him on my list.
Okay.
I've got another one.
Okay. Go ahead. Who else you got?
I had a Nari DeMarcado,
Yeah.
0.4% owned. Nobody's really heard of this guy. But
Yeah.
45 yards and tutty, 1 catch and 12 yards. We'll see what's going on with James Conner. If he's going to miss some time, this might be a fill-in guy. He's the one just kind of watch out for.
Yeah, totally. I had him written down also, for that same reason. James Conner is banged up. Looks like he's hurt. There's a strong chance that Conner might end up sitting out. I think the Cardinals actually picked up Tony Jones off the waiver, off the Saints practice squad, or maybe just off the waiver wire. I think the Saints cut Tony Jones, and then the Cardinals picked him. They grabbed him up today. So usually that's a sign that that James Conner might end up missing some time. So yeah, I
Yeah,
like that. I
I
think
like
that's
that.
a good one. It's a good guy to pick up. He's a rookie, and so we'll see what he's got.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, next up, I wrote down Jeff Wilson with the Dolphins, only 26% owned. I did see on the news today that he is coming off of IR. At least they opened up that 21-day window, and so he's back, able to practice this week. Because much to our chagrin, A Chain hurt his knee, and then Mostart also hurt his knee, and so you know if both those guys can't play,
Yeah,
then it could be the Jeff Wilson show. Of course, we don't want that, but
right.
if that's the case, then if you get out in front of it and grab Jeff Wilson, maybe as a waiver wire leftover if no one's paying attention,
Hmm.
or maybe try to put in a claim for. I don't know if that's really worth putting a claim for, but someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good call, brother. I saw A Chain had a knee, but I didn't know about Mostart either. So
Yep.
yeah, maybe Jeff Wilson time to shine a little bit there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so I don't see either Wilson or Mostart going away. I mean, they'll be back, and
Oh
then when
yeah,
they do, they're
oh
going
yeah.
to take the job again. So it's not like they're handing the keys over to Wilson for the rest of the season or anything. But he might be a little replacement to get you through for a week or two. So
Yeah, and you got to think he's sitting there on the bench watching this, thinking, "I want my
hmm
turn."
yeah,
Let me get some of this
exactly.
action. This looks like
Yeah,
fun.
I know, right? Yeah, it seems like the
Yeah,
Dolphins running back gig is the most profitable gig in fantasy football right now. So yeah,
yeah,
he
for
wants in
sure.
on the action
Yeah.
for sure. All right. So you got any other running backs?
No, I'm out of running backs, man.
Okay, I
Wide
got one.
receiver time.
Okay, I got
Oh,
one more
you got
running
one
back.
more? Cool.
Yeah, before we close it out, it's Tajay Spears with the Titans, only 26% owned. He's a promising rookie too. In Week
Hmm.
5, he had 7 carries for 34 yards and a tutty, and he also caught 4 out of 5 targets for 35 yards. And so he looks electric. I mean, I know like in the preseason, and there was a lot of hype about him, and
Hmm.
that's one of those guys that you can have on your bench as a straight, a great lottery ticket. If something were to happen to a King Henry, then Tajay Spears I think would be a really valuable running back. So
Yeah. Good call on that one. I like that.
yep, I saw in one or two of my leagues some people dropped them. They just got impatient with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, might be,
Rightfully so.
yep. All right, so hit me with your first wide receiver, Craig.
Yeah. Josh Downs. I've actually been looking at him for the last couple weeks. He's been showing up. He looks like he's got some promise as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
About 11% owned. Went 6 for 97 this weekend. But he's been kind of on the radar and showing up. I think he's got some upside for the rest of the season.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. I actually had wrote his name down also. Only 9% owned, plays for the Colts. In week 3, let's see. Yeah, so I guess weeks 3, he had 12 targets, caught 8 of them for 57
Yeah.
yards. In week 5, he went 6 for 6, so perfect for 97, almost broke
Yep.
100. And what's interesting is both of those games were when Gardner Minshew was tossing to him. And so, with like we said at the beginning of the show, A Rich is going to be out for a little while. So this is going to be the Gardner Minshew show. So, he might throw a ball over the mountains back there and hit Josh Downs. So yeah, I like it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good call, man. A lot of times it happens that way. You get the backup quarterback coming in and he just likes somebody, and that's who gets all the touches. We're just not seeing a whole lot out of Pittman this year.
Yeah, no. I mean, he looks good though. Pittman does look good, but yeah, he's not having the dynamite year that you would expect. That we've seen in
Yep.
years past. So
Yeah.
all right. Hit me with your. Let's see. That was you. That was your first one, right, Josh Downs? Okay, so
Yep.
I'll go with my first wide receiver was Rashee Rice for the Chiefs,
Yeah.
39% owned. In week 5, he got 4 passes on 5 targets for 33 yards plus a tutty. And so this is a promising rookie on the Chiefs, and no wide receiver on the Chiefs has really established themselves as a go-to receiver. This is a guy that I believe Pat Mahomes actually requested that the Chiefs draft, and so I know that he likes him, and I think that that Pat's going to give him every opportunity he can, to even though he spreads the ball around a lot, but somebody's got to emerge at some point, on that team.
Yeah,
So I think this guy's got the best chance of the guys that are on that squad.
I agree, man. I agree. I think he's been coming up, and he's probably one of those the second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He can be one that really can help you get to the playoffs and make some, do some damage in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like Christian Kirk last year. He just kind of came out, halfway through, and then just lit it up. So you never know. It's possible.
Yep.
All
cool.
right.
Well, my next one, attention JJ owners. You might want to go take a look for KJ Osborne out there, 21% owned.
Mm-hmm.
He always does pulling pretty well when JJ's out, from time to time, or maybe getting the double coverage. KJ Osborne does seem to step up to the cause. So
yeah,
I think he's got some good chance here. We'll see how serious that hamstring injury is, man. I hope it's not too bad.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Yeah, you said that they're seeing a specialist as well. So trying to get a second opinion. It sounds like. So
not a good sign.
No, not a good sign. But yeah, I saw Addison was out there on the waiver wire in one of these leagues. I picked him up, and I didn't play him, but he did pretty good last game. I think he got like 18 points or something like that. So he I know he's probably more than 50% owned, but he's another guy that might benefit there.
Agreed.
Yep. All right, looks good. All right, my next up was an old a guy that we've been looking at. Had a pretty good year last year. Zay Jones for the Jags, 30% owned. In week 5, he saw 5 targets, caught 3 of them for only 23 yards, but he did score a touchdown. And so the Jags are another team that likes to spread the ball around a lot, kind of like the Chiefs, but you never know who's going to have, a great game. But yeah, I mean, for bye week replacement fill in, you could do worse than sticking Zay Jones in there if your primary wide receivers are on bye, and just see what you got. See what, hope to get lucky.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I've got an oldie but goodie as well with Curtis Samuel.
Oh, dude, I would have been down too. No way.
Did you?
That was my next one.
Yeah, like brother.
Yep.
6 for 65 in a tutty. He's got 18 points in the last 2 games, and I recommended Sam Howell a little bit earlier as he's starting to come on. Beneficiary of that is Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I totally agree. He had only 17% owned on the Yahoo side. If you put weeks 4 and 5 combined, he saw 15 targets and caught 13 of them for 116 yards and a tutty. I mean, obviously that'd be a great for all in one game, but spread that out over 2. I mean, that's real good production. Yeah. So Sam Howell seems to like that guy. So good call out.
I agree.
And he also rushed for 1 yard and another touchdown. So that's 2 tutties he scored over the past 2 games. 1 rushing and one caught. So, yep, good one. All right, so that's it for wide receivers. Unless you got anybody else.
That's all I've got, brother. Just 3 of them.
Okay, same here. All right, tight ends. Got any tight ends today, Greg?
Yeah, got a couple of them. Get your pick in for Logan Thomas.
Yep. Same. Got him too.
He was the recommendation I think you had a week or 2 ago, but went 9 for 77 in the tutty.
Yeah.
Here yet again.
Yeah.
Sam Howell's picking it up. He's going to be another beneficiary of that. So.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you a quick story about Logan Thomas. So in the League of Champions that we're in, I've been struggling at tight end. I just couldn't find nobody to fill it. I ended up drafting Dalton Schultz, and he disappointed me big time, to start the season. And so I decided to go ahead and, pick up Logan Thomas. And so I had Logan Thomas. I had him playing in week 4. He disappointed. And so, I like him, 15% owned, but I also picked up Dalton Schultz again because I found him out there somebody else got frustrated with him. And so I went ahead and played Dalton Schultz. And I was sitting there watching the game on Thursday night, and I was like, man, wait, did I leave Logan Thomas in there, or did I play Dalton Schultz, And so I went back at the end of the game, happy about Moore, happy about Fields, and I looked at there and I was like, oh damn it, I left Schultz in there. I must have switched it. I didn't leave Logan Thompson there like I thought I did.
Yeah.
So Logan Thomas went off in week 5, 9 grabs on 11 targets for 77 yards and a tutty. He did really good because he got like 21
Yeah.
fantasy points, and I was like, man, that's great. And then I did play, so I had Schultz in there, and I was like, man, all right, Schultz, you got to hit 21. And so Schultz played yesterday. He's only 36% owned, and he was my other tight end I was going to talk about, so we'll transition into that. But Logan Thomas was on my list too. But yeah, in week 5, Schultz caught 7 out of 10 targets for 65 yards and a tutty. So he did pretty good. He
Yeah.
got me 19. Not 21,
Yeah.
but hey, close enough, right?
Hey.
Still won the matchup.
Yeah.
It's all good. So
Close enough. Close enough.
Yep.
And coincidentally enough, he was my second tight end on my list as well.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, that's all we got.
yeah. I mean, I think I did the same thing. I drafted him in one of my leagues, and he's one that he's starting to come around. And I think as CJ starts to come around as a quarterback, and he's getting a little more comfortable with him,
Mhm.
he's starting to see it. And we'll see how Tank Dell is. I know he got a little banged up this weekend, so
Yeah, I think he's got a concussion.
yeah. So if he's one of those that's out of game, Dalton might be, there to take a few of those grabs off their hands.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think my plan for the League of Champions is just to stick with those two guys. You can own 2 tight ends, so I'll just kind of try to forecast the right weeks, and just swap them back and forth. So, all right. So that's it. Yeah, we just have those 2 tight ends. Nothing else.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about rookies and our drafting strategy for rookies. And so, if you remember back in August, some of the hype about some of these rookies. So who were some of the rookies that you heard a lot of hype about? That people just had to draft in your leagues or.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Bijan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bijan.
Yeah, he was going first in every league.
Yeah, true.
Seems to be worth it. He wasn't, that great this weekend, but for the most part, he's been a pretty good rookie, man. He's looking good.
Yeah, totally, man. He was definitely top 10. I think, a lot of people were drafting him as like number 1 overall running back.
Yeah.
And he definitely,
fans.
he definitely wasn't escaping the first round very often. So yeah, he was definitely highly targeted out there. Let's see. Anybody else come to mind that that people were targeting a lot in your drafts?
No, I can't really think of a lot of pre-draft hype around. I don't know. What about you? What you got?
Well, so yeah, I totally agree with the Falcons running back. I think that he was definitely I guess well respected going into the draft. But I think Jackson Smith, he got a lot of Jackson Smith and Najigba. He got a lot of pre-draft hype. A little bit about let's see who else that running back for Zach Charbonnet. For the Seahawks. He got a little bit of little hype there here and there, but yeah, you're right.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
like
Zay Flowers.
He was getting a little love.
Yep.
One I kind of bit into a little bit is that Dalton Kincaid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just with Dawson Knox there and enough receivers to spread the ball around. He just he hadn't really got it going.
Yep, I agree, man. Yeah, Dalton Kincaid, and so sticking with the tight end, it looks like, Sam Laporta over there, a rookie tight end. And normally rookie tight ends, just don't do that well their first year.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was looking at the stats so far for the season, and Sam Laporta, believe it or not, he is the tight end 1 right now overall.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's got more points than Kelsey. I know Kelsey was out of game, but so far, yeah, he's scored more points than any of them, than any of the tight ends. So he's the number 1 tight end in fantasy football through 5 weeks. So
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, imagine that.
I was able to grab him off the waiver wire in one of mine, but wish he was sitting there for the rest of them. I probably would have.
Yeah, no kid, man. The secret got out quick on that guy.
It did.
He went in all my leagues. He wasn't ruined after week 1. So. But other than him, yeah, like you mentioned, Dalton Kincaid, he was, he's a promising rookie. He just, like you said, doesn't have enough opportunity with him, sharing duties over there. Luke Musgrave with the Packers. I mean, he's number 30
Yeah.
tight end so far, so nothing to look at. But yeah, I'd say of the
No.
rookies, Sam Laporte has got to be, the guy, the number one rookie of the year so far on the tight end slot.
Oh yeah.
And so, as far as quarterbacks, I was looking at C.J. Stroud. Did you know he's
Hmm.
the number 12 overall fantasy scorer of all the quarterbacks? And so he's that. So that fits the quota, or that fits the
Yeah.
bill of a QB1. I mean, he's number 12 right
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah. I mean, that actually sounds a little low because he's been lighting up. He's been looking really good.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So he's getting it done, as a rookie.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
the other rookie QBs that I wrote down are Anthony Richardson. He's QB 16. So he's in the top 24. So you could put him in there in one of our super flex or two QB leagues. He would definitely. I mean, he's out right now, but before
Oh
that,
yeah.
he would fit the bill as a second QB.
Yeah. I mean, he looks good when he's on the field. He looks like he's
Mhm.
got some potential. But
Yeah,
how long is he be able to stay on the field?
right. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of who was that guy? Man, he played for the Redskins back in the day. Who was just really good. Man,
Griffin.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
CG
hmm
CG3. What was it?
Yeah, CG3. Yeah,
CG.
was it CG? I don't know. I forget. RG3.
Yeah.
RG3.
RG3. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. hmm
Just
Yeah,
got to sound right.
yeah.
Yep.
RG3 at Baylor. I mean, he had all the talent in the world, and then ended up
Yep.
going to the NFL, and then just, I think he got his bell rung or something, and yeah, he just never quite came
Yeah.
back the same from that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. He took a beating.
yeah, kind of reminds me of that same style of play. Likes to run, and pretty accurate passer. So.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, the only other notable QB rookie I could think of is Bryce Young, out of, I think, Alabama, right? And C.J. Stroud, he went to Ohio State, right? And Alabama
Yep.
was Bryce
Yep.
Young, and he's the number 54 QB so far. I mean, there's only 32 teams in the league, right? So he's as far as fantasy scoring, he's number 54. So yeah,
Yeah.
not quite getting it done.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't want
No.
to put him anywhere near your fantasy lineups. So.
No. No. He needs a little more time in the oven.
Yep, definitely. And so, but moving on to rookie, wide receiver. So this guy, a huge surprise for everybody, I think, is Puka Nuka. I mean, the guy's
Oh yeah.
the number 3 wide receiver in all of fantasy football right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's unreal.
yeah, exactly. That guy's amazing, man. So, man, who would have thought
Yeah.
that, coming into the season, that Puka Nuka with the Rams, unheard of rookie, was going to be the number 3 overall after 5 weeks of fantasy football.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, not even his mom would have called that.
nope, nope. Yeah, that's quite a surprise. So whoever got him, after that first, I know we did mention him on the show after week 1,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, whoever
Oh yeah.
listened and went and grabbed him, they're
Mhm.
definitely happy. So,
Yeah.
next up from Puka was Tank Dell. He's the number 24.
Hmm.
I know we talked about him earlier, lighting it up so far this season. He looks like he's got a concussion right now, but, as the number 24 overall wide receiver fantasy scorer, I mean, he's a solid wide receiver too,
Yep.
doing
Yep.
good.
Yep. I definitely like him too.
Yep, and we talked a little bit about Jordan Addison. He's actually the number 31 wide receiver so far, so that classifies as a wide receiver 3. Right there with
Hmm.
the Vikings. And so he's like,
Yeah.
we probably will get a little more opportunity if JJ is forced to miss a game or two. So he's looking good. And then right after him is Zay Flowers at 32. And so right there in that wide receiver 3 range, Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
So the thing about him is, I mean, he gets a lot of targets. I mean, I think, he'll get maybe 10, 11 targets a game, but they're usually the short, quick
Yeah. For a
targets.
yard. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Go do something with it.
Yeah, he's being used as a possession receiver because Lamar Jackson just can't seem to get enough time back there. I think their O line just sucks because he just can't seem to
Yeah.
have enough time back there to really drop back and launch that ball to Zay Flowers. So yeah, the role he's got
So
right now, they're just they're not using him how they need to. So
yeah. Agreed.
but yeah, other than him, I mean, there's Marvin Mims, number 38. I mean, Michael Wilson with the Cardinals, he's number 39. So like you said, Josh Downs, he's number 46. The guy you mentioned earlier, he's a rookie also.
Hmm.
Rasheed Rice, he's the number 51 overall wide receiver. Jonathan Mingo, number 81. So yeah, you don't want to go anywhere near that guy, but he's a rookie too.
Yeah.
But another rookie that kind of intrigues me was John Mechie the third. He's only the 116 wide receiver so far, but he was a star at Alabama, and he's playing for Houston. And so, if Tank Dell is out for a week or two, or at least 1 week, with a concussion, then who knows? Mechie might be able to see the field on 3 wide receiver stats, and we'll see what he's got.
Yeah,
He's a rookie I've been wanting to get a good look at, ever since his Alabama days. I remember he was great. Um, but yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Jackson Smith and the Jigba. I mean, he just hasn't quite gotten the opportunity to. He's in a crowded wide receiver room. Over there in Seattle, he's the 97 wide receiver so far. And I think I saw in one of my leagues, maybe one league. I think somebody dropped him, but I don't know. But
yeah,
he's just kind of somebody to hang on to.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you, man. It's tough to get all the balls around there.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that if DK or Tyler go down,
Yeah,
then he'll probably be the one to step in and start catching some of those targets, start having some relevance.
yeah. He's going to need an injury to be fantasy relevant. I agree.
Yeah,
And then let's talk about, other than the Falcons running back, let's talk about Devon Achane, number 3 running back so far. And he's only played,
yeah,
what, three games through 5? I think he played a little bit in week 2, but, barely much. I think he scored like a couple fantasy points. But in 3 games,
yeah.
he's been able to outperform the field, except for 2 of them. One of them's Christian McCaffrey. So he's right there
Right.
at our RB3 overall for the season, in basically
Yeah,
3
and I mean,
games.
I drafted him. I drafted him in the second round of every one of my leagues. I mean, I saw this coming.
Right.
Didn't you?
No, I missed it, man. But yeah, man, he's been a huge fantasy surprise, a delightful surprise. He's the equivalent of the
Yeah,
Puka, you know what I mean, in the wide receiver
exactly.
world. So they're both number 3. But yeah, just
Yeah,
unbelievable, man. If you happen to grab both those guys off the waiver, or one or of those guys off the waiver wire, you're sitting pretty. So
yeah, yeah, man. What's amazing is he's averaging like 17 yards a carry.
yeah, I know, man. Did you see that long run he had, yesterday?
Yeah,
I mean, I think they clocked him at 21 miles an hour or something like that, man. Just on fire. Yeah,
yep.
this guy's quick, lightning quick. So,
Feed that guy the ball.
yeah, he is fun to watch, man. It's guys like him that just
Yeah,
make, football so much fun to watch on Sundays.
yeah, yep.
So other than him, I mean, we talked about Jaleel McLaughlin, the guy that you mentioned earlier. He's number
Mhm.
26 so far as a rookie for the Dolphins. I'm sorry, for the Broncos. And then Tajay Spears, he's the number 29 overall. So I mean, both those guys, Jaleel McLaughlin and Tajay Spears are both, solid RB3s, so far,
Yeah,
overall. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he's a big disappointment. That's a guy that got like a ton of hype, for the Lions.
he did.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah,
were hyping him up, thinking he'd be, on fire, but it's obviously the Montgomery show over there
yeah,
on the Lions. And so he's just not getting the opportunity. And I know he was out in week 5, and I don't know if he's going to come back. And I think it might be a hamstring. So I don't know if he's going to come back in week 6, but yeah, he's
yeah,
a bit of a disappointment. He's a number 32 RB overall so far. So he's clocked in there as a RB3 that you just can't play, at least not
I agree.
without an injury to Montgomery,
I
so.
agree.
Yeah,
Hoping for a touchdown if you
yeah,
throw him in there.
yeah, exactly. And you talked about Roscon Johnson, or how do you say that? Roscon Johnson or Roscon?
Roshan.
Roshan, there you go. Roshan Johnson. He's number 36 so far. So that makes him as a RB3. Right on the fringe edge of it. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick it up through the
Hmm.
season.
Yeah, yeah, he might be the guy. I mean, Herbie looked good though too. I mean, in week,
Yeah,
before I see in week 4 he looked really good, and then in week 5 last Thursday night he was doing good, and then he got hurt. But week 4 he really lit it up. Herbert did. So,
yeah,
but yeah, you're right. He might be a good rest of season guy to get. But you mentioned
yeah,
Amari DeMarcado. He's the number
yeah,
55 RB so far. But yeah, he's got a good opportunity with Connors out, so he might be a good one to watch.
yeah,
But Kendre Miller, he's the number 59 RB. He actually had a pretty decent game this past weekend for the Saints. He's the guy. I think he was at with a TCU, I believe. And he was, TCU went pretty far last year. They ended up making it to the national championship game, and he was,
yeah. And then he got smoked.
yeah,
I think it was the backup running back there.
yeah. Well, he was one of the running backs that got him there, And he
Yeah.
hurt himself, I believe, either in the game before the national championship game or that game. One of the two. I know he didn't have any effect on that game when they did get smoked,
Yeah.
but he helped get him there, to the title. So he's got some promise there.
Yeah.
Somebody to look at.
Yeah.
If something were to happen to AK and they really get Kendra Miller going, he might be one later on to keep an eye on. But yeah, we talked about Zach Charbonnet. I mean, I think it's going to take an injury to Kenneth Walker the third
Yeah.
for him to really get out there. I did see him with an angry run not too long ago
Yeah.
to just truck somebody. He looked really strong. But yeah, he's a good running back. He just needs opportunity. So, but yeah, Tank Bigsby's out there. He's a rookie for the
Jacksonville, right?
Yeah. And so he may, if something happens to their running back, can't remember his guy's name, but Etienne. Etienne.
No.
Yeah, he had a solid game this past weekend. So
he sure did, man.
Yeah, if something ever happens to him, the Tank might be somebody to look at. But and then just to round it out, got two left. Deuce Vaughn, with the Cowboys. I mean, number 73 so far. It would definitely take a Pollard injury for him to do anything.
Yeah.
But the last one I've got my eye on is Keaton Mitchell. He's on IR actually for Baltimore, but I went back and looked at some of his college stats. He looked pretty good. I think he played for kind of a smaller school. I forget which school it was, but yeah, he looks looks like he's got some potential. I mean, considering the Ravens got nobody. I mean, what did Gus Bust do this past weekend? I didn't play him.
Nothing.
I think Gus Bust, had about 6 point something points, 6.2, whatever. That's what he's done for the past 2 or 3 weeks. The guy can't even break 7. So the way I look at it is that job's wide open, and I think that they're going to let him off of IRR, so he might be someone to keep an eye on because that's a job just waiting for him. So
yep.
So yeah, I mean,
that could be a good one, bro.
But yeah, I mean, my philosophy, Craig, with drafting wide receiver, rookies, whether it's a wide receiver or a running back is, just kind of like to take a little bit of a wait and see approach, because there's been previous years, at least that was my approach this year. I mean, there's been previous years where I get all excited about these rookies and I draft them. I got them sitting there on my bench and then it comes, bye week times and they haven't done nothing. And so I just let them go. Right. And then all of a sudden, after I do that, then there's an injury, to the main running back, or they start turning it on, and then all of a sudden, I lost out on a guy that I had on my bench for 4 or 5 weeks. Like Christian Watson is an example. Last year, I think I drafted him in at least one, maybe 2 leagues, and then got impatient with him and then dropped him. I think it was like week 10, he just turned it on, and the rest of the season, there it was blowing up. So, I mean, so what's your philosophy on drafting rookies, or
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a flyer on him in the 15th round or something like that. That's usually when I'm trying to scoop up some rookie. Unless it's Bijan.
Yeah.
You kind of had a pretty good feel about how he was going to be. The rest of them, I'll just kind of wait. And then I'm with you. Only a few of them really turn it on in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so somebody's got to get hurt and they got to step in. Or you got to give them a little time to start cooking.
Yep. Yeah. Like here's a quick story. Like last year, I had Penny, from the Seahawks, and so he was lighting it up. He was doing good, and I actually had Kenneth Walker, sitting on my bench, and so I had first overall draft priority in a Yahoo league. Right? I know you don't play in Yahoo leagues, but I had first overall priority, and so I thought, okay, well, I really needed somebody that week, so I was like, I'll just drop Kenneth Walker, and if something happens to Penny, then I can just go grab him, with my first pick. I mean, I'll have to burn it, but at least that's what I can do. And then sure enough, Penny went out that same weekend. And then I tried to pick up Kenneth Walker and it blocked me on Yahoo because it said, like, you got to let everybody else get a try or something like that. Some stupid rule like that. Wouldn't let me. Yeah, I know, right? It's retarded. So, it wouldn't let me pick him up. So I ended up losing Kenneth Walker. Somebody else picked him up and he ran with him and he blew up the rest of the season. So, I'm very careful this year not to do that again. So that's kind of why I'm holding, what's his name? Zach Charbonnet and not letting him go. I don't want that to happen to me again because I know if something happens to Kenneth Walker, and Zach's going to go off. So you just take it from year to year, kind of learn from your mistakes. But this year my thought was just to kind of wait until people got impatient with these rookies and then to start scooping them up. About this time of year.
it's usually like on bye weeks when somebody's got 2 or 3 people on bye,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to go drop that rookie
Yep.
so they can go grab somebody else.
Exactly.
And that's usually when you can start finding them. So,
Exactly. So
um,
keep an eye out. Those guys we just talked about.
yep,
Keep an eye out on all those guys.
yep,
Especially the running backs. Because if you
yeah,
just stash them, they may end up being a league winner. One of those names we just called out could be a league winner. So
yeah,
sometimes,
100% right.
sometimes it's the guy you least expect too. So you never know.
Yeah,
Like that Amari DeMarco guy. You never know, right? So
yeah, exactly. Like I remember one of my first years of playing fantasy football. Gosh, who was that dude? The um, Green Bay running back. I don't know. I forget the guy's name, but I picked him up and he just dominated, man. He was 30 points a game, every
yeah,
game,
nice.
from week 7 on.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I love finding guys like that, man. Because it just
yep,
changes your season. So
yep.
well, good. So next week we'll talk a little bit about steady eddies, and so we're a little late to get into it this week, but let's start writing down some of these guys that are the anti Houdinis. You know what I mean? The guys that
Yeah,
don't pull a
yeah.
Houdini on you, that you can count week in week out. Week in week out. So we'll talk about some steady eddies next week, as well as folks to pick up for week 6. Uh,
Cool.
okay.
Sounds like a plan, brother.
All right, brother. Well, good talking to you tonight.
All right.
And
Same.
we'll enjoy watching some football Thursday and next weekend. We'll talk same time next week.
That's right, brother.
Okay.
All right, man. Good luck on the waiver wire.
You too, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Peace.
See ya.